It's a little intense, I apologize. I've been waiting to play that song on stage for almost 20 years. No kidding. I love that song so much. It meant so much to people that aren't really part of my life. So I want to thank you all for giving me that opportunity. And there's one more song I want to play for you tonight. And it's The Way I See the World. This is a great person. It's a band called Against Me. This is a man who started and became a female by the end. He's an amazing writer. She's an amazing writer. It's almost like he lives a dual purpose. But I want to play this song for you tonight because it's a heartbroken hope for everybody out there. We got to stand up for things, and we've got to say what we see. So if you know the song, sing along. Now all is quiet, except for this song. So maybe while we're not together, I will feel like I'm alone. Somewhere off in the distance, rapidly advancing, is an onslaught of sorts. Young sirens wail in a skewed sense of glory, while the lions in the cages roar the memories of fights. There's a joy in all I can see, a joy in every possibility. All around us it's a great, great failing. American rockets red glare the most, express his triumph. In passing I did ask to even believe in God. Show it off to be in its soul. Continue to sing songs in this world with no explanations. I keep looking for some faith. My band is the only reason there's a joy in all I can see, a joy in every possibility.
Delightful. Thank you. My pleasure, dear Edie. Young Patrick's naivete about sexual reproduction led him to become the laughingstock of his 7th grade class in science when he asked aloud why in overcrowded India, to alleviate starvation, people didn't stop having babies. He'd always thought babies just happened magically after people got married. From the back of the classroom, the mean boy yelled out, "Shoot the stork!" Patrick's face reddened as the class and his teacher burst into laughter. At recess, my shamed and humiliated friend, he headed right to the restroom to study those ugly graffiti inscribed walls. He'd seen them and ignored them, but now it dawned that those depictions were true. Men and women had sex. He wrestled with this and his own raging hormones, and rapidly he began burying his gayness deeper. At home, he anxiously picked up the book Mother had left. So boring. Riding on a streetcar one day, he overheard 2 effeminate men whispering rather loudly, discussing a code phrase that had been used in the 1950s between gay men to find other gay men. "Do you know Dorothy?" Young Patrick was excited to learn the Dorothy phrase, but now he felt like another Dorothy who wandered in the land of Oz. Poor kid. But more about Patrick later. Let's now continue with our play. We're going to have a game now called Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I need an audience volunteer for Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? We have Kay here, who's a 5th grader. Do I have a volunteer? Right over here, I've got a lovely lady. Come on up. Kay, this way. There you go. Okay, get your competition up here. All right, we're going to do a little bit of questions here. And this is some LGBT vocabulary that we've got. What is your name? Elisa, welcome. Thank you for being a brave volunteer for our show tonight. Okay, have you ever seen Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Okay, so we don't have any buzzers, so you're going to raise your hand if you know the answer to the questions, just like in school. All right, so the first question is, in the context of gender, this applies to a transgender individual who is generally perceived as cisgender. Typically, it involves a mixture of physical gender cues. Okay.
Passing.
Passing. The term is passing. Okay, here's another one. Are you ready? Okay. This group of people is not limited in sexual choice with regard to biological sex, gender, or gender identity. Okay?
Intersex?
No, that's not it. Okay, let me read it again. Not limited in sexual choice with regard to biological sex, gender, or gender identity. They love everybody. Open, that is a great way to do it. Pansexual, that's right, pansexual. All right, here we go. This is a person who is or is perceived to have gender characteristics that do not conform to traditional or societal expectations. A person who is or is perceived to have gender characteristics that do not conform to traditional or societal expectations.
Non-binary.
No. You want to guess? Okay, listen one more time. Watch my inflection. A person who is perceived to have gender characteristics that do not conform to traditional or societal expectations.
Gender neutral?
Gender neutral or gender non-conforming? Okay, we've got one more question. All right, this is a big one. What is the difference between sex and gender? Do you know? All right, let's ask Kay.
Gender is socially, and sex is biologically.
Sex is the difference between male and female, biological differences, and gender is the societal constructions we assign to male and female. When you hear someone say gender stereotypes, they're referring to the ways we expect men and boys and women and girls to act and behave. Thank you very much, and I do have prizes for you after the show. Everybody, let's give Alyssa a big round of applause. Okay. Thank you very much.
Well, you all know the famous unopened closet club. That club included celebrities and beautiful actors, including Tuxedo Greta Garbo and delicious young Marlon Brando. Surely you know that Marlon did just a little bit more than only act with sexy James Dean. So you also know of Hunky Rock Hudson and Tab Hunter's secret romance with Tony Perkins from Psycho. We can also never forget excellent choreographers like Michael Bennett from Chorus Line and that cranky old Leslie Berkeley. And I recall that both Judy Garland and her daughter Liza Minnelli each had gay fathers. This land also recounts accurately the two spirited Native Americans living on the vast plains and the deep forests of early America and ancient America. These natives heard the music of two flutes playing. In beautiful volcanic Hawaii, where this genie once lived, there have always been gays called mahus. Today, as always, mahus are socially accepted and respected by Native Hawaiians. Now, I'd like to introduce an actor with a uniquely beautiful message from his ancestral culture, an American culture that's existed on this continent for thousands of years. The next performer will be Ed, a gay man from Ignacio, who's happily married to another gay man. Ed is a wonderful spirit, a man of wisdom, and a keeper of his tribe's culture and skills. He has crafted his own story for you to experience tonight. Let's welcome.
Mike, Durango binigyan nuna niya Edward Fox, new binanut, new Bukawi, new Washi. Good evening. I'm Edward Fox III. I'm a Southern Youth tribal member, and I live on the Southern Youth Reservation, and I'm also part Hispanic as well as Navajo. You know, my life has always revolved around that good old saying, third is the charm. The first time, at the age of 22, I met my first boyfriend in my hometown in Ignacio. And that's when I had moved back from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And speaking of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, this reminds me of when I was down there, I had an opportunity to go to my first gay pride. You know, I got to see, you know, what gay pride was about. I didn't even realize there were men out there just like me. There were times when I'd say, is this real? You know, it was unbelievable. Well, I bought my first gay pride pin. The pin was a pink upside down triangle. You know, I wore that with pride. You know, every time I wore it, it identified myself as a gay male. You know, years went by, and I realized and learned what that pink upside down triangle meant. It was an identifier in World War II for Hitler to mark all the Jewish men who were identified as being gay. So that really, you know, really hit home for me. Well, it was an experience living in Fort Lauderdale. I remember it was December 1988. I went to go see my first gay movie. It was released down in Miami, and I went to go see it. It was called Torso Trilogy, and it was a great movie. And I also got to see, you know, a gay movie with gay characters. It really took me to heart. And when I watched it, all I could think about was, I want a relationship just like Arnold. Arnold was the main character, and he was a drag queen. And you know, after seeing him perform, put makeup on, go out on the stage, I was like, I'm going to do drag queen. Take it to me. Well, at the second time, my second boyfriend, I met him at the age of 22, when I 33, in Las Vegas, Nevada. And what my first thought that came to me was, maybe since I'm living in a city, I can actually have a gay relationship with a man. I could be happy. Well, I was wrong with that, because I signed up for a bipolar mama's boy. It was a tough relationship. So, at the age of 40, I actually ended that relationship. I told myself, I vowed to myself, I don't want a relationship. All I wanted was to be happy, be like my parents, be married. But that wasn't happening. So I did what every other gay man would do. I would actually download a website or download gay apps, go to the gay bars, in hopes that maybe I would find someone to spend the rest of my life with. So like I said, third's the charm, because the third time I met a man that we weren't intending to become an item, but it turned out that way. So, like I said, third time is a charm. We married, and that was Anthony Rotella. I met him, and I knew he was a special man because he was going to be the one I was going to spend the rest of my life with, because we were down at Gay Days in Disneyland, and it happens every year. I can still remember that night. It was October 6, 2007. We were at an event, and I told him, let's take a picture with the Red Queen. The Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland. So we took a picture. And we're standing there, holding each other, smiling, and he whispered in my ear, "We married." And that's how I knew he was the one that I would spend the rest of my life with. So like I say, my life revolves around three. Third is a charm. I'm Edward Box III. So October 17th, October 18th, 2008, we did a commitment ceremony, because that's all we could do at that time. We did a commitment ceremony in Las Vegas, Nevada, of all places, Sin City. At the Plaza, my parents performed a Native American wedding. And we vowed to each other at that time that we'd be together. So, second time, when Colorado passed the, was it civil union and the domestic partner law? So once again, June 2013, we made that commitment again. My parents married us again, Native American wedding. And this, the kicker here was, there was no Sin City. It was here in Colorado with our families and friends, Colorado friends. So the third time, we really, we made that commitment, just like in that movie that I saw, just like my parents, where people cooking that. I will always remember that day. So, it was a struggle growing up when I was young to identify who I was. It was, I grew up on a Southern Ute reservation. I was raised with my Southern Ute culture, and I was taught I had to be a man. If I was a Ute man, I had to be a man. So, upon that, I was raised Catholic too, in a Catholic home. I can remember from time to time, I would go to my room and say, God, why am I like this? Why do I have to struggle? Why do I fear living? And ask him, I want to be a girl. I don't feel comfortable. So, it was a challenge. I can remember my parents teaching us, being in our youth culture, my sexuality came to light with my family when I was in our traditional Sundance ceremony. My mother, after the morning ceremony, my mother told me, we need to talk. And I said, why do we need to talk? She said, well, your sister's mother's, well, let me get this right. It sounds my sister's friend's mother had told her that she did not want me to associate with her son anymore because she didn't want me to turn him gay. So my mom said, after you get out of the ceremony, we'll sit down and we'll talk. Because see, my family, we sat in the circle, and we would, when issues came in front of our family, we would discuss them and ask, how it affected us individually. So I wrote letters and letters to him. I tell him everything. My sister's friend. I would tell him what I did. I can remember writing him and telling him, girl, I don't know what, you cannot believe where my friend took me last night. I went to my first day back. And I left no details out. I did this, I did that. And I think that's what, me being so truthful and being honest on what I did and being happy, that, she didn't want that for her son. But unfortunately, her son and I both knew he was gay and I was gay. So growing up on the reservation, it was a struggle being a child. Because I always identified myself as a little girl. I never identified myself as a boy. I would look and I'm in a boy's body, but I'm happy I'm a little girl. In my private time, I would always reenact little scenes, girl scenes. In my private time, you don't know how many boyfriends I went through at that time. So, it was a struggle. I could remember, this reminds me of, at the age of 13, my grandfather, I traveled a lot with my grandfather, and he took me to a powwow. We traveled to Fort Hall, Idaho. We went to the Shoshone Band Festival. And at that powwow, one night, the announcer announced, all the little boys who want to come out and contest, come on out. But the thing was, he said, you have to dance like a girl. I was excited. Because I went through a lot. I got teased a lot. So this was among the native people, so it was kind of, to me, it was okay. My cousin grabbed her shawl, and she threw it on me. She goes, go, go. She kind of coached me out there. So when I went out there, I can remember dancing around, and my heart was into it. And I remember looking down and seeing the shawls of the fringes going with the song. I felt happy. So I could proudly say now that I never dreamt that I would have a normal life. I'd have a house, I'd have a job, good job. I'd have a husband that I could spend the rest of my life with. And so I can proudly say, I am a strong youth man. I'm a strong gay man. And I'm human. Woo!
Williams and Connors Bursey. The name of the song is Go My Son. Robert Go, an Indian war chief, counseled his people in the way they should walk. He wisely told them that education is the ladder to success and happiness. Go, my son, and climb that ladder. Go, my son, go
impersonator presented on Ed Sullivan's Sunday show. Bailey portrayed Cher. Judy Garland, Barbara, and Phyllis Diller are two queer perfection. Speaking of perfection, I'd like to now introduce another performance artist who's been perfecting her style and her self-identity for the past few recent years. I'm happy to introduce a friend of mine who's a very creative drag stylist, and she's going to perform a song for you called Another Man. Please welcome to the stage Miss July Lee.